Hello everyone, I'm Anna, a 31 years old office worker living in Hanoi, Vietnam. I grew up in quiet little village in the countryside where life moves slowly and every season has its own rhythm. Life eventually brought me here to one of the busiest cities in Vietnam. These days, I rent a tiny room with a small balcony that has slowly become my favorite corner of home. Since it's the weekend, I finally have time to take care of my little garden. There's not much space, so I mostly grow herbs and a few simple vegetables. Every morning, I check on them before leaving for work. And every evening, they remind me that even small things can quietly grow with a little patience. Watching them become greener day by day always makes me smile. To be honest, I live a pretty simple life. My income isn't very high, so every expense matters. Before buying anything, I usually ask myself one question: do I really need this? That simple habit has helped me avoid spending money on things I don't need. Little by little, I also put aside a small amount of money every month. Not because I'm chasing wealth, but because having a little savings gives me peace of mind. I am also getting to know someone. We're both Catholic, and we both hope this relationship will become something lasting. Like many young people in Vietnam, we both left our hometowns to build a life in the city. Owning a home in Hanoi feels like a dream that's getting farther away every year. Still, we're doing our best. Instead of chasing impossible dreams, we're building something much more important: a sense of security for whatever life brings next. Life has become a little more expensive lately. I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels it. Almost everything seems to cost more than it did before, but my paycheck hasn't changed very much. So these days, I'm learning to be even more intentional with every money I spend. Every weekend, I make one trip to the supermarket. Instead of buying a little every day, I prefer planning meals for the whole week. Once I get home, I divide everything into smaller portions and store them neatly in the refrigerator. It may look like a simple routine, but it helps me avoid wasting the food and money. I've learned that a little planning can make everyday life feel much less stressful. I rarely eat out. Most of the time, I cook every meal at home, even breakfast. Part of the reason is to save money, but more importantly, I simply feel better knowing exactly what goes into my food. Cooking has quietly become one of my favorite parts of the day. It's one of the few moments when life slows down. No rushing, no deadlines, just the quiet sounds of vegetables being chopped, the smell of warm rice, and the comfort of knowing that I have some homemade waiting for me after work tomorrow. I don't think a simple life is that life. To me, it's a life where I know exactly what I have and learn to be grateful for enough. Some days stay with you much longer than others. Today was one of those days. Not far from where I live, a large fire broke out. It was the closest I've ever been to a fire like that. The flames grew higher and higher. People gathered outside in silence, watching and hoping for the best. One fire truck arrived, and then other and other. Even after more than an hour, The fire was still too strong. The firefighters worked tirelessly to keep it from spreading to the neighboring buildings. Standing there, I couldn't stop thinking about the people who owned that place. Maybe they had spent years building it one step at a time. Seeing it disappear in just a few hours were heartbreaking. More than anything, I hope everyone made it out safely. Sometimes there are moments when all we can do is hope. The next morning, it rains for hours. I found myself wishing it had rained the night before. Maybe it could have eased the fire, even just a little. Life doesn't always happen the way we hope it will, but somehow it always keeps moving forward. Back on my little balcony, my herbs were quietly waiting for the rain. They look greener than ever. I've been too busy to take good care of them lately. Still, they keep growing quietly, asking for almost nothing. Maybe that's why I love them very much. After a long day, coming home to this little garden reminds me that life is still full of hope. The rain finally stopped. Little by little, the sky began to clear. Somehow, it felt as if the city had taken a deep breath. That evening, I went out for my usual walk. Then I looked up. The sunset was more beautiful than I had imagined. I actually ran back home and just to grab my camera. Some moments only happen once, and I didn't want this one to slip away. Standing beneath the evening sky, I couldn't help looking around at the city. Rows of the houses stood shoulder to shoulder. The streets were narrow, yet always full of people. Some were heading home after work, others were only beginning their evening shift. Everyone seemed to be carrying a different story, different dreams, different worries, different reasons to keep moving forward. Life in Hanoi isn't always easy. The traffic is busy. The apartments are expensive. Sometimes life moves so far that it isn't hard to catch your breath. But somehow This city were a way of making people fall in love with it. Maybe it's the old streets, maybe it's the smell of food drifting through the evening air, or maybe it's simple because a part of our lives have quietly grown here. One day, we may leave this city behind, but I think a small part of our hearts will always stay here. Maybe that's what home really means. Thank you for spending time with this the quiet day with me. I truly appreciate you being here. Take good care of yourself and I will see you again in the next videos. Goodbye.